Hello everybody, Mirta from the past here. I don't know when I'm actually uploading this video, but currently in the timeline where I am is when the whole big Infinity Nikki 1.5 update debacle is happening. So as a result, I went out searching for other games to enjoy and to dedicate my time to, and I have found this little gem, which I don't know how to feel about because I personally like it really a lot. And when I was playing it, I was wondering, how can this company be making enough money to even keep the doors open? And it turns out they don't. They have had like 3 layoffs, and the development schedule is really rattled. The game is in beta. It should be in early access on Steam, but it's not marked as early access, it's marked as full release. But if you go to the game itself, it will be like update 0.19 something. Currently, I was on update 0.191. I believe it is when a whole big new map of Elderwood has released inside this game. But mind you, this game has 3 maps in total. Palia is a life simulation MMO. If you want to kind of get a feel for it, I would say that it is like a Stardew Valley in 3D with multiplayer elements. Every map, from what I can understand, can support up to 25 people, so it is a tiny MMO in comparison. There are global chats that are running the whole time when you join like a server shard, so people can speak throughout the whole map. There isn't really a way to talk to people locally, so if somebody's standing next to you, you have to do the equivalent of shouting throughout the whole map in order to communicate with them if you're gonna be talking openly. What I found is that majority of players inside this game must really be introverts because they will participate in the kind of bits of the game where you kind of need other players. Like, for example, there is a mini game that technically requires 4 players in total. You can play it with AI, but it is like a little card collecty game. And if you find like 9 cards, all with like in pairs of 3s, and like your pair of 3 matches, it's kind of hard to explain. It's called Hot Pot. There's like different categories of food, and inside different categories of food, there's also like different pictures of food. So there's like noodle type 1, noodle type 2, noodle type 3, noodle type 4. If you collect 3 of noodle type any, that is already like considered a collection. But if you collect all like 3 of noodle type 1, your points increase in comparison to noodle type any. And if you manage to get matches 3 times, so 9 cards in total, which is the amount of cards that you get, the game ends and you would be the winner because you would probably score the most points. Normally, the game sometimes ends when people just like have a whole bunch of like type noodles but cards any, to explain it a little. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I know that I'm really bad at like explaining mini games and stuff, but effectively, this game happens in a specific location during nighttime. I don't really want to spoil the location because the story kind of takes you there and you don't know that it exists at the start. But every single nighttime, every single time when there's nighttime inside the game, you can go to this location. And normally, what you'll find is that there's people that will just open the game on a table and they will wait for others to join, and others will join entirely wordlessly. There are places to trade stuff. people rarely use those from my experience, but you can trade with other players, and normally players trade for rarer items. So there's like collections of plushies, for example, which seem to be a bit of like an RNG drop. So people tend to like exchange one plushie for another plushie between like each other. So that area is also used like that. If you go outside and if you're mining the same mining node as another player, then you will get like a mining node buff. So it goes kind of faster because both of you are hitting at the same time. If you fish, you also like get a little buff for fishing close to other people. There is, I believe, some achievements that grant you a little bit of a renown, which is also a currency if you're in a party with other people. And there's like systems to set up guild like groups called communities. But from my experience, most people just kind of participate in that entirely wordlessly. Like, if you're mining, somebody will just come along and mine next to you. You're fishing, other people will join in and fish next to you, and they will completely not talk. If I was to try and find a community inside this game, I couldn't. I have not seen a singular person promoting their community. I haven't seen that on Reddit. I haven't seen it on like other social media channels. Perhaps I was supposed to like pursue a official Discord for it or something. Like, it just seems really insular. It feels really weird because it just feels like you got, I don't know, 25 introverts into a room and you told them to do tasks, which they can choose to do together. And the response tends to be is that everybody does their own tasks silently, and it's almost the atmosphere of like, don't bother me. Whatever you do, don't bother me. Which I don't mind, but it makes me think that this game didn't really need online functionality all that much or online features. I don't know whether that would have taken the stress off the whole development budget and their release schedule and everything, but it felt highly unnecessary. Another thing is that if you have children, I don't recommend you allowing your children to play it because chats can get unhinged like this, and I'm not entirely sure how much chat moderation there is for this game. So, like, there was one guy trying to hit on, what was it, 13-year-olds when I was running around, and I was like, huh, what the fuck? What am I even looking at? This is some pedo shit, man. This shouldn't be happening, and there should be like an easy way to report that or a moderator to deal with it on the go. But I don't think that this company has like a moderator, live moderator hired in order to deal with functions like that, because the company is very small by this point. So here's the thing. Everything that you need in the game gives you. There is some monetization, but it's so incredibly not predatory, and this is a free-to-play game as well. For example, this is me just browsing their premium store. Mind you, once again, the game is entirely free to play. What they're trying to monetize is primarily outfits, weapon skins, housing skins, as in you like change the appearance of the house behind you, the ability to have like small pets that run next to you. And more recently, they tried to ramp up that monetization by going carrier pets, which can carry up to 4 slots of items back to your house every 10 minutes. And honestly, I am currently a low level player in comparison, but I have like 3 full bars out of 5 unlocked on my character. So I think I have like what, an inventory of maybe like 30 slots, maybe a bit more. Removing just 4 items off me wouldn't be very helpful. If my inventory is so full that I need to go home, I don't think that removing 4 items and sending it with a pet back home every like 10 minutes is gonna help me all that much. It feels like it is kind of simpler for me to get back home, unload, and then get back to wherever I was going. Mind you, I was only exploring 2 out of 3 maps because the newest Elderwood map, it's supposed to be like after you finish everything like primary story beforehand, because it's like a new add-on to the story and the map's like bigger and there's like more things in it to grind. But that is to say that it is like late game content, sorta. There was one event meant for Elder Woods that popped up on another map that I was in, which was to cut the tree down together with somebody else because this tree heals faster than you can cut alone. I started cutting it. I noticed that that was the case. And then another player like ran over and helped me entirely wordlessly with no communication required because that is what a lot of people dig in this game. They dig not communicating with one another for some reason. Like I've seen some people call out those kind of trees, but it's like a rare occasion that they call out. And most of the time, if there's an event, somebody will like run past and be like, ah, tree. Let me just help you with that tree. Anyway, I am like so low level. I'm so not advanced that I can't even process that into planks or logs for now. So it's kind of just sitting there in my stack or stash that I have at my house, not really doing anything. Those logs. That is to say, the point is that the third map is meant for people that have done the 2 previous maps that have already been existing. And I am not there yet. I am currently 23 hours into the game. Apparently, there's 50 to 60 hours worth of story in it. And apparently, a lot of people claim that it gets boring after 500 hours. Which to me sounds a bit insane because 500 hours is a great amount of content to get from a game, especially an entirely free to play game. So here was my astonishment. Like, how is this game so not monetized in comparison? Like, yeah, there's a lot of things on the store, but they don't really rotate those things on the store. They just add more things to the store so you can like buy your stuff whenever. You don't need anything that's on the store whatsoever. All of it is entirely purely cosmetic and the game is free to play. I was like, how can they even fund a development team of this? Well, you know, bit poorly. So we talked about monetization, we talked about community, we talked about game size. I'm trying not to like oversell this because it's a live service game. These kind of games do go down eventually. That is actually a concern for people that, choose to invest into games, but it is a fairly good game would be my point. But I am just like throwing out absolutely everything that I've experienced in it so that if you're making a decision whether or not to play something or whether or not to try something, every card is like on the table and you know everything about it. But for now, let's start from the beginning. The thing that you're seeing on screen is a character creator. Mind you, genders/sexes are called body types again. Why am I saying again? Like it has happened before. What I mean is that this is now common for a lot of games. I kind of disagree, mostly because body types to me signal body diversity. And when there is 2 choices, one feminine and one masculine, that body diversity is clearly not there and clearly entirely lacking. Now, Mind you, this game is kind of better in this regard than other games that adapt the word body type 1 and body type 2, which is clothes, hairstyles, and even beards are not gender locked, and neither is voices. You can go pretty crazy. You can like make whatever kind of character that you want using all of these components. But when it comes to body form, there is a male body form and a female body form, which means that there isn't really a lot of variety. And to me, that doesn't like justify calling it body types, but they genuinely tried. You can see that they genuinely tried by making all the clothes and all the hairs and all the beards work with like both body form types, and you can pick whatever voice you want, so it is a lot better on that regard than a lot of other games. Now, I am gonna pause on something in a second. This is a bit of a nitpick, so if the developers are watching, I'm like being kind of very negative right now, but I don't mean it that it's like a big problem or whatever. This is a hijab. It's a bit weird. Let me explain why. This game has a hat category. Some paid outfits from the store will actually deposit the hair associated with it into the hat category. The hijab is treated as hair, which is odd because it is something that goes over your hair. And normally, you would probably want to include it in some outfits, but not others. As in, it's normally something that you would wear by the faith of Muslims. You can correct me if I'm wrong, around other people or in public, but you don't need to wear this around your own family inside your own house where you can relax. This game has instanced housing with also slots to create your ability to change in and out of outfits pretty fast. So you might not want this to be your hair. You might want to have this as part of outfits that you, for roleplay reasons, would wear when going outside of your house, but not when you're, for example, chilling inside your house, cooking inside your house, doing a little bit of gardening, or any other activity where there wouldn't be any kind of real strangers around. I mean, NPCs do visit you, but they kind of stand and wait at the mailbox for you to talk to them, so you don't need to acknowledge them or walk to them if you don't want to. So the category of this item is a bit weird, but once again, some outfits from the store have hair associated with it that goes inside the category of hats and not hair, which is also a bit weird. Second thing about this point is that there's only one religious covering of hair included, and it is the hijab. There's no tickle, for example. There is also no wigs that Jewish women tend to wear. There are no turbans. So when you include very specifically a singular religion, it comes off as a bit of a diversity and inclusion tokenism rather than it being genuine. Another possibility is that there was a developer from a singular religion on the development team, and they didn't know much about other religions, so they didn't feel comfortable adding it in. But this item kind of stands out. Another issue with this is that the game doesn't actually have long skirts or dresses available for you as a free to play player. We are now inside your selection for things to put on your legs. Modest clothing is a thing. Modest clothing inside Islam, where people tend to wear the hijab, is especially a thing. I understand not including like a full on burqa, but you would at the very least like a loose long skirt and a loose shirt that is sort of figure hiding in order to appeal to cultures that have modest clothing. There is a reason why people cover their hair. It is modest to do so. The rest of the body kind of goes with it. You don't normally wear what I put my character into right now if you're doing the whole modesty thing. If you're only doing like one item of the whole modesty thing, it doesn't quite count. Pants also don't quite cut it. Like, you can make it modest with pants, but it doesn't tend to be, let's just say, the traditional religious way of doing it for women's fashions in majority of the world's religions that require modest clothing. They do sell long skirts on their store, but there is a bit of a problem if you have a dress that has a long skirt. So, this is my character wearing a store outfit called the ball gown. I got a founder's pack because honestly, this game was very impressive. It came with 8 outfits, but it also came with a lot of coins, so I bought several other outfits for myself. Honestly, I like the shorter ones more, and I have my preferred way of dressing, which this ain't it. But let me just show you the run animation with it and kind of point out the flaw in it. That outfit feels very not attached to your legs. It splays out and it just kind of goes with the wind a lot. I think that there's a lot of bend that needs to happen around the model when it's running, which is probably why they didn't really include long skirts to begin with. But it looks damn goofy, bro. Like, look at this sprinting. Especially if I'm always like looking at my character's back, that swinging motion is just so not it. This game, it feels like the models were more designed for like Fortnite than they were for this. Like, it's a very like specific art style and a way of moving, and long items, long skirts don't move properly with the model. So I understand why they didn't include modest clothing after I got some store outfits and I started playing around with them because it looks goofy, but the implementation of hijab kind of feels like a half-assed measure because of this. But now remember, I am really, really nitpicking here. It's something that bothered me personally, and that's why I ended up talking about it for like 10 minutes straight. And not like the existence of hijab, but like just the execution of the character creator, the fact that there isn't modest clothing, the fact that a lot of other cultures and religions are not really covered, and the fact that the models are modeled in such a way that wearing any long outfit turns really goofy when they run. Like, I can play Oblivion Remastered, and my favorite thing to do is to like wear long dresses. In real life, I am very much a long dress sort of gal. It doesn't look anywhere near as goofy. Mind you, Oblivion handles it a bit weird as well. It kind of attaches the whole dress to your legs, almost as if it was like an extended pant. But this means that the fabric, the way that it moves, when you're running at high speed still looks better than this, which is overly flappy and flowy, and that starts going just swishy swooshy, swishy swooshy. And remember, you're kind of running all the time. You're not gonna be like walking to places, and I don't even know if there's like a button to initiate walking in this game. You are going from NPC to NPC. You have places to be and people to see, man. You're not like gonna just stand still and wait around for it. So you run and everywhere, and the outfits that are long look goofy when you do so. Anyway, let's come back to the character creator in itself. It's pretty decent. All of the options that are here, pretty much, you can recustomize yourself multiple times. I don't really know about bigger options like eye color and skin tone. I do know that you can only reselect your voice like once a week. I know this because some people have experienced a bug after the update that has really scrambled their characters and has left them with a random voice, and they were like, "Oh, it's okay. I can just unscramble my own character." The issue is that while voices play when you press on them, when you're originally picking them in this character creator, they don't when you're trying to change them, and you can only change them once a week. All of these clothes that you see that I'm trying, they're accessible at all points in the game. All the haircuts are accessible at all points in the game. You can access it from your house's wardrobe if you have built one. If you haven't, there is a guy that does tailoring inside the game that honestly just kind of opens the store interface for you because you can't really buy any extra outfits inside the game, not from what I've seen anyway. You can buy a lot of furniture. Like, this game has a very in-depth furnishing and house building, and you can own multiple plots. So people build like really impressive things, and there's a 5,000 item decoration limit per plot, I believe. But it opens like a lot of space for you to experiment with the whole house building thing, and it is like a major part of what people do in this game. They collect materials, they collect furnishings, they learn recipes, and then they build pretty houses. Like, that's a major gameplay loop. Outfits aren't as major of a gameplay loop, but everything that you see here, it's not like once selected and that's done. You can visit the guide to like recustomize this, or you can like recustomize this from your home. So what exists here just like kind of continues existing, which is really, really nice. There's also like a section of makeup. There's a couple of outfits that had like a few makeup pieces for sale, but there's really not a lot. And the makeup looks, not gonna lie, bit weird. So I'm gonna go to makeup. Like, for example, for eyeliner, I wasn't like really seeing a difference. Lipstick felt like it wasn't applying on my character's lips completely. Like, it felt like there was like a little edge that's left at all times that just kind of blends weird. I've seen this problem in some games, but not in others. But the way that the makeup is done, it doesn't really encourage me to use it. I can once again recustomize this character for free, including redoing her makeup as many times as I want. So if I ever want to use makeup in the future, I can, but for the time being, it looked kinda weird, so I went without it. Now, one interesting thing is that my character is currently wearing zero eyeliner. You wouldn't be able to say that because of that really thick cat eyes that are currently happening. That is not like equipped makeup. That's just there, which is a bit weird. Progressing from character creator, the basic story of the game, I kind of dig. Human population has kind of went extinct, but there's like either like cryo machines or cloning machines or some other way that humans were preserved, and one of these like alien chicks accidentally activates one, and it just kind of pops you into existence, and you're like, hello, I'm here now. And they're like, whoa, you're here. But that hasn't been like the only instance of humans arriving into their world. That has been happening quite a lot. Like, whatever mechanism that they used way, way long time ago when humans were still prevalent, in this world to like freeze them, they're now all kind of thawing out or getting replicated or just being spawned into existence all at once. And it isn't like there's like a whole avalanche of humans happening, but like once, I assume every couple of months or so, a new human spawns in from one of these weird ruins, and the towns that have like people in them, they try to integrate them into their own society. The NPCs are quite nice in this game. Like they're like, well, yep, well, here you are. If you're willing to be a hard worker, we're just gonna like give you a free house and like get a feel for it. Try to like integrate yourself into the village. Like, welcome, hi. We're gonna be living together now. I guess it's gonna be fun. And at first, they're a bit cold towards you, but honestly, they're unreasonably welcoming considering that you just plopped into existence and they're like, here, have a free house. You can just have a free house. It's fine. But some of them will like be a bit cold, like experience some trust issues. Part of the game is to kind of give NPCs gifts and continue talking to them and do quests for them, and then you build your relationship with them. And then when your relationship gets really high, you can even start dating. If you can understand Stardew Valley, then you can understand Palia's too when it comes to that. Except instead of moving into a remote village, you got whatever technology cryo frozen or something like that in the middle of no longer human inhabited planet that has all of these like other creatures, all these other species of people that are sort of like you but pink and purple for the most part. And yeah, you're here now. You can integrate and decorate your house and gather and embrace being part of a village. I don't know what else do you want me to say about the premise. It kind of goes deeper, longer. You kind of get to learn what happened before, how humans went extinct, what kind of big secrets are places hiding. But also, there's like 50 to 60 hours worth of story. The game is far from being finished, and a very small development team is working on it. And it took them like
How's your day going?
a year from Steam's release, like a year and a half to release a new map. And apparently, the full amount of quests, from what I saw from complaints, one person was claiming that there's only like 7 new main story quests. Another person was claiming that he has 14 quests that are like related to the area. That is to say, players that are playing through this game, the consensus seems to be that there's a lot of hype around this third map and everybody's very excited about content, but also kind of disappointed that the amount of story that they were given for this new content after waiting for like a year and a half is fairly small. So like there's only like a little bit of story, which means that this game's development and further development is going really slow pace. And considering that it's only at 1.91 version, and you would expect the full game to be like 1.0, you can sort of see it that at this rate, it will probably take them over a decade to finish it. And at that point, you're like, can you last over a decade? Do you have over a decade in you? I'm having all of these wonders just because of a lot of like talks that players were having in between themselves on like Steam and Reddit. On the other hand, something to account for is that this game, for the most part, throughout its Steam's lifetime,
Call me
had
a stranger.
consistent 11,000 players, give or take, consistently, and then after the new update, kind of jumped to like 18,000 people online at about the same time. And this game also got released on PS5 and Xbox with this update. So I think that they're doing a lot to try and increase that player number. And if this game becomes more sustainable, then maybe they can start hiring. And if they can start hiring, maybe those updates would be happening a bit faster than like at the current rate that they're happening at. But let's go back to the recording that I was sitting on when I started making this video to begin with. This kind of demonstrates everything that you do in the game kind of well. Like, I was collecting bronze in here because I wanted to upgrade my tools, and after you upgrade your tools, they start decaying over time. So you need to repair them often. So you need to consume quite a lot of bronze for it. Your character, I don't want to say needs food because technically, if you run to like zero action energy, I think you can still function. You're just gonna be functioning with some minuses to yourself because I kind of forgot to feed my character at one point and I was still able to fish. It was just really flashing at me, so I assumed that it is bad. But you cook to fill up your character, to have like action points. You gather materials, you make repair kits for like your own weapons. Well, I keep on saying weapons, it's tools. You don't really have weapons. You gather various things that you can make into food and into furniture and into upgrade components and into things like smelters and windmills and housing parts. A lot of it is housing, honestly. You can catch bugs, and those bugs will be both part of quests and also part of some unlocks. And also, you can display them inside your house. In fact, there is a lot of things that you can display inside your house. You can catch fish, you can eat said fish, you can use it for quests, you can display it inside your house, you can sell it for money. It's very much a kind of gathering game. You also can do hunting with like bow and arrow, and you can get hide and you can use that hide to, you guessed it, to make furniture, to make yourself more upgrades for mostly like your bug catching toolkit. And you can also deliver hide and other materials as gifts to villagers, and all villagers will have their own preferences for the kind of things that they like and dislike. So every single time when you wake up, it's a bit like waking up inside Stardew Valley. Mind you, your character doesn't sleep, so we're assuming that it is you that just has woken up, jumped on your computer, and was like, oh boy, I'm so excited to play some Palia today. And then you logged in and you were like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna continue main story quests for a little bit today? Am I going fishing? Am I like stocking up on copper ore? Am I doing a bit of farming on my farming plots? Am I trying to figure out, have I not done any daily gifts to people yet? So should I do some gift deliveries to the villagers to like raise how much they like me? There are a lot of things to find inside the game. Like, I think every single map has, at the very least for the first two maps, there's like 10 or 11 chests on the map. And if you can find them, you can just pick them up. And in fact, the chest itself is also a decoration that you can place inside your house. You sometimes will just go out fishing and then you will catch something entirely unexpected, like a message in the bottle, and that will start the quest. There's like a lot of quest items to find like that. A lot of materials are easy to track. The game doesn't really like tell you where they are, but if you figure out the spawn points, it's easy to like do a farm route When it comes to fishing, it is also not random. It is depending on the daytime inside the game at that current time, and whether you are using a bait and there's worms and glow worms for bait. If you are using a specific lure, I don't know much about the third map, but I do know that there's a specific lore that changes what you catch inside that map that's required for some collections. You can also have lures that either like increase your fishing line's health or attract a specific fish. That's also an option. But yeah, if you know what item produces what outcome when it comes to fishing, it's not that hard. You can like calculate a route as to where you can find specific fish. The same way that if you know where the copper ore spawns, or the iron ore spawns, or silver and gold ore spawn, you can just go to that place and gather it. One thing that's very, very nice about this game, coming from gacha games, which I played too much recently, and I hate this on mobile games in particular, the game doesn't really run on energy. There are some things that take time. So, for example, if I set copper ore smelting, it's something like 3 or 4 minutes per bar. So that time needs to pass. If I set my worm producing machine, because yes, that's a thing, to produce worms, it makes like some amount of worms out of a vegetable every hour when you set it going. So you kind of need to be aware of that. But the game doesn't just say, "Oh, you spent your energy for today. Time to log out." No, 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 no. You can literally play as many hours as you want. And considering that I raked up like 23 hours in a week, I think some of my playtime was probably a bit on the unreasonable side at like a couple of days. So I really appreciated that the game didn't just like tell me, no, no, you cannot. I have encountered parts of the story where I need to effectively progress my relationships enough, and that could be seen as a soft lock when it comes to like what you can do inside the game that requires some amount of time because I need to like give the villagers gifts and I need to do quests for them and I need to talk with them daily, right? But there are two types of story content running at the exact same time, and I can just like switch to secondary missions and continue doing them. So the secondary missions were also kind of a lot more interesting. I'm calling it secondary missions, but one main story branch was about integrating into the village. The other main story branch was about exploring the ruins which spawned you and similar ruins to that. When you go and be doing that story branch, you get a lot of like jumping puzzles and interesting environments and different puzzles to solve that require you to like hit things in a specific order, for example. While the integration into the village part kind of like teaches you how all mechanics work, and then they're like, we need somebody to sponsor you, and people will only accept you to like would only accept you into their family and agree to sponsor you if they're like relationship level 4 with you. So far I'm like only relationship level 2 with people, so I can't continue that part. But that isn't to say that I was like lacking story content, because I can just like switch over and be doing that other story content. Well, this story content is happening at the same time. So yeah, there isn't time gating as such, is what I'm trying to express. Materials take time to make, and there's like parts in the story that require you to do something that might take you some time, but there isn't at any point in this game where the game was like, bye bye, log off now, go bed, go away. No, I can play
Need
as
anything?
much of it as I want, and I kind of presume that after I finish the story, I will continue playing just for like the whole decoration and wholesome aspect. Just because sometimes
Now
when you
God,
like
for
log in, you're
sake!
like, oh, so
I love
today I have
investing
a
in your
goal of
find.
like completing this very specific set of furnishings. So I'm just gonna go into the open world, I'm gonna get my materials, and I'm gonna like
Now
get to
God,
it.
correct
And you
your
feel good about
enemies.
it. So I see myself playing it for a lot longer than the story itself is gonna last me, because to me, this is genuinely a good game. And I was really surprised at the quality of this game. I am just warning you that the company has downsized 3 times, so it is a very small studio, which probably has a bit of an issue keeping the doors open, I imagine, because they downsized 3 times. So their whole development thing, it is slow. It is like they're developing things slowly. I think they release updates fairly frequently, but most of the time those updates don't have a lot of substance. This whole third map thing was like the biggest update to date with the most substance, and I
Another
imagine
beautiful
another
day.
one probably won't drop for like over a year. That's just the reality of things, and I'm probably okay with it. I'm probably completely cool with it. I can keep myself busy in this game, and I also don't need to be logging into this game every single day. There is an ability for you to buy like I think 1200, actually 1300 is around there worth of in-game premium
Be safe out
currency
there.
by paying £4, receiving something like 400 up front, and then getting the rest of it for logging in every single day. But honestly, once again, everything that is on the store it's all cosmetics. Honestly, babes, you can play this game really well without ever buying store content. It was really surprising to me because I played so many like buy to play games and even pay to play games that were monetized more than this. And this is a free to play game. And obviously, the company could do with more money. Like, obviously, they could even do with a bigger development team, but they're choosing not to. Mind you, once again, a bit of a thing where they were like, we're putting soft pay to win features. I
I'm
don't know if they
always
called
here
it pay
if
to
you
win,
ever
but they
need
were
a
like
ride.
soft utility features or something like that. And the first thing that they're trialing is
Feel
that
free to
pet that
return
will deliver
anytime.
like 4 items back home every 10 minutes. But a whole bunch of people, like, that's bad value. It is easier to just return to your house and deposit everything yourself than it is to use that pet, because those 4 slots ain't lasting 10 minutes. So you're gonna be going home anyway. So the company was trying heavier monetization, and I feel like they failed, which is, I normally don't see games failing on monetization in that regard. Like, I normally don't see games being too fair to their consumer. This one feels like it is too fair to their consumer. Like, I feel like they could have planned this a bit better. Like, if this was a single player game and had like a price tag, at the very least you would be like generating revenue like that. No, it's like a fully free to play game. So what I'm trying to say is, Mirta is really caught up in the primary game loop. I'm all for gathering ingredients, crafting furnishings, decorating my house, expanding my house. A new plot would cost me like 50,000 gold, which is a lot of gold if you ask me, but it's once again entirely free to play. The only thing that would be paid for is if I want the decoration, like the atmosphere around my plot would change and be like, I am living on a mountain, or I am living inside a Zen garden, or look at all the autumn leaves, or look, the ground is frozen. But that doesn't like serve any gameplay point. That's purely cosmetic, which is something that's entirely blowing my mind. And I feel like there's one more thing to mention.
Just this once.
Ever since the update released, and apparently this is kind of common with this game, when they release updates, they always kind of screw up the game servers a little bit. So, for me, the screw up mostly manifested in there is a queue whenever you're trying to enter a map, and sometimes the game will drop me, forcing me to try to enter the map again. So like there will be like 8 players waiting, and then it will just spit me back out into the previous map and make me like re-enter the map that I was entering. So there's like connection bugs and connection issues that people have been experiencing, and every single time when this game updates, it's a bit unstable. So keep that in mind. But once again, because this feels like such a small company running such a small game, if I go to their Wikipedia, one of their firing sprees was like 35-ish people, which was like 40% of their workforce. It's a tiny company, and it's a fairly small game. So because they're like more, I would say, indie, and they even had to be bought out by a bigger company that's now managing them, I'm more forgiving of these things. But I feel like if you're gonna be trying this game, I need to warn you that it tends to have some issues with gameplay connectivity and light bugs, like some people's characters' appearance data being wiped and them needing to recustomize their character again, despite everything else still being there. So it's not a perfect product, is what I'm trying to say. But Mirta is really engaged in the primary loop of gathering, crafting things, building up my house. Mirta is very impressed that everything that I need inside the game, I can get it for free. And it is the free to play game, which paradoxically encourages me to spend because I feel bad for the company and I just want to support it for the sake of supporting it. Weird how brains work like that. Obviously, I am limiting myself, but I like bought the whole founders pack for £25 because I thought it felt like a fair price to pay for a game for the amount of hours that I'm gonna be spending in it. It felt fair. So while I wouldn't be spending on it all the time, I felt better for giving the developer some of my money in order for them to hopefully being able to continue to exist, because honestly, this space is kind of cool. I like being able to go, oh, it's the middle of the night. Do I want to go down and play a hot pot game with other players? Yeah, actually I do. It feels really entertaining right now. Oh, maybe I'm gonna like prepare and go fishing. Oh, maybe I'm gonna like really set up myself and I'm gonna go bug hunting. Ooh, maybe I'm gonna do some quests for all NPCs. Oh, maybe I should deliver them some gifts. Like, I feel like I have a lot of choice about the kind of things that I can be doing, and because the game at no point says, no, Mirta, shut off your PC, stop playing me, I feel very comfortable about that. And if I don't have time, I can put it down for a week and nothing bad will happen. Nothing bad will happen. And that is really amazing to me. I won't be missing out on anything important. There's no like time limited stuff. If I put it down and come back a couple of months later and they introduced like some new items and perhaps I wanted them, I won't miss them because they will just be there on the store, which is once again such a surprise. It's a very non-predatory game in that point. So what I'm trying to say is I am hooked on this flawed indie multiplayer project that probably should have never been multiplayer and should have been managed better. And if it ever goes down, I will probably feel sad, but I will feel happy about finding it to begin with because it is truly a nice and cozy experience. So, if you have an Xbox, if you have a PS5, or if you have a PC that's fairly alright, honestly runs better than Infinity Nikki for me, so probably you could do with a less powerful PC, but I imagine that you still want some PC power to run this. If you have like one of those, it is free. Just like try it. You literally don't need to pay for anything in it. It's really bizarre. It's very not predatory when it comes to that. And considering that there's about 50, 60 hours of content, it can be seen as fairly decent length for a single player game. Or if you want to be sticking around and, I don't know, spending your time just like decorating and admiring the sky and fishing and collecting stuff and just being wholesome, then apparently people spend about 500 hours before they get bored, which is an incredible amount of time to spend on a singular video game. So I don't see that the current offering of content is a bad one for an entirely free game that you don't need to pay for. The only question is, will the company continue living or will this game be sunsetted at one point? I hope not. And I hope that if they do have to sunset it, I hope that they kind of convert it to a single player experience because damn, this is fairly good. Even though they're like in beta and it's not finished very obviously, and it will probably take them by this point like a decade to fully complete it at this rate because they're going quite slow, honestly. It's I like what's there. It is fun. It is engaging. I was very engaged. I enjoy it so much that I decided to make a whole YouTube video about it, but I also wanted not to oversell it. So like I wanted to be fair and to like tell you every single problem that this game has so that you can make a good decision onto how to invest your time. And I hope that I have done that. I hope that I have like showcased majority of the kind of things that you can do inside the game. I think the only thing that I haven't showcased it yet is decorating. So for that let's be right back. Let's go and decorate some. Okay. Hello. Welcome to my house where I came solely for the decoration purposes. I have a lot of furniture that I made that I don't quite like, so I just shoved inside my storage facility for now. Mind you, while ingredients do have weight and you do have limited capacity, I'm nowhere near it because you can craft up to 8 chests, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Each chest stores 400 capacity, but you can also get chest upgrades, so you can get more. I think like the absolute maximum is something like 5,000, but what I'm trying to say is that while materials that you want to hoard, they all do have an actual weight to them, decorating has no weight whatsoever. I'm just gonna get a couple of wallpapers out. So let's say I wanted to change the wallpaper of this house. Now, wallpapers, mind you, they are being given by NPCs when you reach a specific relationship with them or give them one gift or whatever. At one point I was absolutely like assaulted with like NPCs just coming to my house and giving me a whole bunch of wallpapers. You can also buy them for renown, which is the currency that you get by being nice to other people and being nice to NPCs. Another system that I haven't covered is requests. You can request items from other players, but you can only request a specific amount of like a specific item, which is preset by game, and you can only have 4 requests running every 24 hours. I love requesting copper because I always need copper, but if like I decided to fulfill an item. Let's say I decided to fulfill a request for butter. I just did. Somebody needed butter. I gave them butter. So now they have butter. I got +1 renown. So even if you run out of all of the achievements and all of the quests, you still have a way to generate renown by being nice to other players. And honestly, I like that. Now my house is set up weird. By that I mean I have put too many light fixtures too close to my chest, so opening my chest is a bit hard. I am also saving up for a much bigger house where I can store a lot more decorations, so my house is decorated fairly sparsely. So this is what it would look like if I was to try and place a table down. Now I can also press Control and just move anything that's already pressed down and like reposition it wherever I want. There is a bench for customizing the items that you can craft, so you can like make them be in different colors than they are. You don't actually need to be in exact same color that you see the item be here. So there's like that whole system. I was just not engaging in it because I decided that, you know what, just primary, regular, good old furniture is good enough for me for the time being. This is what a crafting looks like if you have the actual material. And if you still haven't completed the set, then after crafting an item, you can get a recipe for another set. Now, if I went out and went to the furniture store, there are NPCs that sell like specific sets or specific amounts from a set, and then you can learn the rest like this. There are NPCs that will like be giving you special furniture, like it is a reward in some quests. By that, what I mean to say is that there's various different ways of getting like recipes for furniture and various different like furnishings you can get. Because this is a pantry. It kind of feels fitting, doesn't it? I don't know where I might like put this cup. I already set up 2 full dishes, so this feels kind of unnecessary. I'm gonna like leave it on my coffee table, which is not really meant for coffee or anything because there isn't any coffee on it and there's nothing to look at. Like, I don't have a fireplace, not yet anyway. I don't have a TV. I don't think that that's a thing that you can have even. So yeah, this is how decoration goes. Now, if I stepped out, I am currently building a windmill. If you place a bigger furnishing structure. Okay, let me just start making more fabric because I need it. I'm growing fabric right here. I'm growing the cotton, then I'm processing it. Like, it's a whole process. But as you can see, because it's a bigger structure, it takes a specific amount of materials in order to get it to be fully built. I don't have enough fabric for it. If I press H, just the housing interface, this is my plot. This is how much of my plot I have unlocked, as in this territory is not mine, this territory is mine. If I wanted to do an extension or an add-on, I would like need to see where it slots, but it would slot to my already like existing house. So I can also like slot like the fireplace, just like that. Wherever it has like space to slot. But I want to like expand this house in particular. It has a limitation of 15 rooms. Now, default plot, I can do new plot, and if I had 50,000 gold, I have 6,000. Could buy a new plot, but that's not what I'm currently saving for. I'm currently saving for a 2-story house. I'm very excited to eventually have a 2-story house. But this is to say that the whole building system very in-depth. The whole processing system very in-depth. Am I crafting anything at this point? Because I can set something else going. Let's set some clay bricks going while we're here. I am hooked. I don't know what to tell you, lads. This is fairly well-made game, and you should probably consider trying it. It's very impressive as far as I am concerned, but this is as far as like my decorating segment is gonna go. I know that there's quite a few like people on like the official Discord. So people are like really showing very impressive builds. Some people have like full on obstacle courses, everything going like people can do a lot with this. This is like a fairly extensive building system, and that's like the primary thing to do in this game. So, if you wanted to join and you like building shit in game, this would probably be a game to do the building shit in. So then, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for my Patreons, which are funding my gaming habit, including the £25 that I gave to this game. It honestly felt like a fair exchange for the amount of time that I have invested into it so far. If I'm gonna like be playing a game that didn't want to be super monetizing itself, the least I can do, especially when it's a small one, is like throw them a little bit of money to just like show my gratitude. But for anyone to throw money at anything, they have to have money to begin with. And this is a very low income household. In fact, majority of the time, this is a minus income household. Like, I'm living off bits and bobs. If not for my Patreon, I wouldn't actually have a gaming budget, and I wouldn't have any money to actually throw at these kind of things. So thank you so much. And also thank you for Penny, which supported me on my birthday and helped me buy myself two dresses, one of which I believe I have showed off in other videos, but this is the other one that has just arrived, and I'm so happy with it. It even like has pockets. So that is absolutely amazing, and that was absolutely amazing. So thank you all of you so much, and thank you all of you for watching. I hope that maybe I'll get to see you on my other videos. This channel sometimes does like occult content. I very often do video game content, but it's very varied. I tend to stream like once a week, and I've been streaming Oblivion Remastered. By the time that this video is up, I don't know if I'm still streaming Oblivion Remastered or maybe like I finished it and moved on to other games. But that is to say, there's always like gaming stuff happening on this channel. So if you like that, stick around, see what else is there. I hope that I have done justice for trying to explain absolutely everything that there is to explain about this game, and I hope that you're not confused. If you are, please feel free to ask me questions in the comment section down below. Otherwise, how do you feel about Palia? Have you ever played it? What's your impressions? How do you feel about the whole shebang? Good game, bad game? Give me your opinions. And I hope I'm gonna see you next time. Toodaloo.